That's why I feel I need to continue to try at least fight this, because you know, I put my heart and soul into a clean campaign.
Tonight, a young Cree man from Alberta proves you might not be able to beat City Hall, but you can beat band office politics.
You're going to learn a lot of things about Inuit that not a lot of people have had the opportunity to.
It has the largest collection of Inuit art in the world. Now it's ready to open its doors.
How long have you liked toilet paper? A long time?
Yeah.
And she was ahead of the toilet paper frenzy long before the COVID pandemic was a thing. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin in Treaty 6 territory, where Samson Cree Nation's youngest councillor was sworn in this week, 8 months after the band's election. Why the delay? APTN's Chris Stewart spoke to the councillor, Shay Yellowbird, about how it happened.
Last August, APTN told the story of Shay Yellowbird. He ran for council and won. However, he was told there was an appeal against his election. The reason? Samson's electoral law says no band employees are allowed to work during the election campaign. However, Yellowbird signed some checks for members on income assistance the day before the July 28th election. He felt he did nothing wrong. Yellowbird appealed and lost. He then filed for a judicial review.
That's why I feel I need to continue to try at least fight this, because you know, I put my heart and soul into a clean campaign.
On March 8th, federal justice Sebastian Grimond ruled that the original election result is valid. And this week, Yellowbird was sworn in as a councillor.
Today was the inauguration as the youngest councillor for Samson Cree Nation. I'm really ecstatic at the opportunity to be that voice for the next 2 years for the younger generation, the youth.
Yellowbird says his priority is working for the youth and giving them a voice. He wants to help improve unemployment, education, and off-reserve support.
And I've already been talking to some of the youth who want to get to work with me, so I'm pretty pumped to talk with them, and then we can start brainstorming ideas.
Lucy Johnson is a court advocate. She helped Yellowbird find a lawyer for the judicial review and throughout the legal process.
And when we got the ruling, how elated we were. You know, the little took on the Goliath. You know, we poked the bear, and it came out in his favor.
The judicial review cost thousands of dollars. He says donations helped. He also says electoral laws should be changed to make sure this does not happen again.
It was a very stressful experience, and as I mentioned that in my speech, that nobody should have to go through this experience ever again. You know, it was cost a lot of money, a lot of time, resources, families were hurt.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Samson Cree Nation.
A $20 million addictions and treatment center in northern Manitoba is at a standstill. Now, First Nations organizations are calling on the provincial government to help get it back on track. Daryl Stranger has that story.
The Northern Treatment Lodge in northern Manitoba needs funding to move beyond the first phase towards completion. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, along with the Cree Nation Tribal Health and Swampy Creek Tribal Council, are calling on the Manitoba government to fund the centre, which they say is much needed.
It is a well-known fact that the Indigenous peoples are disproportionately impacted by addictions. The cause of this can be tracked back to the historic trauma, oppression, systematic racism, discrimination inflicted upon Indigenous peoples.
The proposed location of the 50-bed centre is near the former Guy Hill Residential School, about 20 kilometres from the Pas. Turner believes the forested area would provide a natural healing environment for people.
The Northern Healing Lodge will be a place for healing rooted in traditional First Nations healing approaches to promote balance of mind, body, and spirit. Our goal is to provide a variety of holistic treatments, such as the 7 sacred teachings, spiritual understandings of ceremonies, kinship, land-based culture practices.
AMC Grand Chief Arlen Dumas said the facility will reduce the cost to managed patients that need the type of care the centre could provide.
So if you want to be financially responsible, then let's make this investment. Let's make investments on behalf of people, on behalf of Manitobans, on behalf of First Nations, so that we can look out for one another and provide the much needed resources.
A government spokesperson said the province receives many requests to develop or expand mental health and addiction services, and a proposal for the lodge has not been submitted. Quote, "A proposal for a Northern Healing Lodge has not been submitted at this time to either department, but both are pleased to review an application once it is received through the regular process." Turner said a proposal was sent in on January 18th, but they are sending a follow-up proposal which will include the designs of the project as the next phase after community consultations and acquiring the land. Gerald Stranger, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
To the north now, and over the last few years, the small Dene Métis community of Fort Resolution, Northwest Territories, has been hosting wellness workshops. It's been a success, with the same Indigenous healing facilitators returning to the hamlet, building trust and sparking conversation around tough topics. A 12-day suicide prevention workshop is underway there now. Our reporter Charlotte Moore Jacobs brings you that story.
When you have people who do this work that me and my husband do and come back to the community, it builds meaningful relationships.
Because you guys are going to learn some new tools, some new strategies and stuff that you can help you, not only with your families, but with the community itself.
Respect your life. Oh, that's beautiful.
But they need resources here in the community. They need someone to talk to, someone they can call, someone to help them get to treatment. I'm proud of myself being here, listening to this workshop. I can take something home with me, or if someone wants to talk with me, I'll be able to help them, I hope.
And they have a lot of healthy elders in this community. What we can do is build a momentum to start the healing processes, to carry that on for ourselves, right?
I'm still thinking I've got lots of grandchildren. I worry about it all the time. I'm just expecting a phone call at any time in the morning if grandchildren's heard of somebody do this to them.
And when we tell our story, we tell the truth. Once our truth comes in, it shines a light. And whenever a light shines in a community, it starts revealing all the things that are in the shadows. And that's where suicide is.
We're going to make some noise and say, hello people, we're here. Fort Resolution, we're here, and we want you to know that we care, right? That's what we're doing today.
Some of the people who have attended our workshops have, it's been the first time they've ever told their story, and that is about a deep loss.
To help them and support them and let them know that they're loved and they're cared for and they're important people and life matters.
And so everybody in every house and every family is going to start asking questions now, and that's what we want. We just want people to start talking about it, you know. And the elders are, you know, they're getting well prepared to have some good answers for the people who ask the questions.
To the Métis homeland now, where a group calling itself Red River Echoes is expressing disappointment and moral outrage in an open letter to the leadership of the Manitoba Metis Federation. The group is speaking out against the recent statement and expensive advertisements purchased by the MMF in support of the Winnipeg Police Service. Brianne Lavallee-Heckert is a member of the group, and she joins us now. Brianne, thanks so much for being with us. Can we just start by having you tell us who are the Red River Echoes?
We are a group of Métis people in Manitoba and outside of Manitoba as well. Our membership is currently growing. And we're a collective that's interested in seeing a return to the old ways of Métis governance, to our laws, to our traditional ways of being and living with each other and our relatives.
The open letter to the leadership of the Manitoba Metis Federation was spurred by the huge advertisement the MMF took out supporting, expressing support for the Winnipeg Police Service. Why did the collective take issue with that?
Mm-hmm. Well, for us, it was a moment of the last straw where we decided that this was the moment where we were just so shocked by the actions of the MMF in this instance. And I think for us, one of the big things was Aisha Hudson's murder. The recent independent investigation unit recently came out holding no accountability for the officers involved. And this was a moment of us not honoring our own laws. This was very blatant, where we were disregarding the lived experiences of Métis, Indigenous people who have faced violence at the hands of the police, and in particular, women. And so that's why this group, led by women, this is enough. And so that's why we're taking a stand now, and we are awake, as is part of our name.
You mentioned this is the last straw. What are some of the other issues the collective is concerned about with the MMF?
Mm-hmm. So we discussed the Wet'suwet'en instance in February 2020, where the MMF did not support our Wet'suwet'en relatives, and it was also the moments of the Lord Wolseley petitions that were circulating in Winnipeg. Lord Wolseley was at the heart of the Reign of Terror that victimized so many Métis people. Really, the exodus of us from our lands was by the hands of Lord Wolseley and the MMF decision not to remove those names, despite grassroots activists' work on that. So yeah, there's been a few issues, and this was our moment.
Are there changes that the collective would like to see within the MMF?
Mm-hmm. So one big change that we're looking to push for as a tangible advocacy outcome here is to change the constitution of the MMF that requires volunteer service on a local before you can be eligible to run for president of the Manitoba Metis Federation. And so this is something that we don't see as fair, that, if the MMF is truly a democracy, why do we have that? Why is that rule there? So we are looking to make our democracy more inclusive.
Brian, we'll have to leave it there, but really do appreciate you taking some time for us today.
Thank you so much.
It's going to be a big day for Inuit art and the art world in general. A new gallery, years in the making, is ready to open its doors. We'll take you on a sneak peek after the break. Welcome back. It's a project that was decades in the making. Kamiak, the Winnipeg Art Gallery's Inuit Art Center, is set to officially open its doors on Saturday. The center is home to the world's largest contemporary collection of Inuit art. As Brittany Hobson reports, the center is a place developed by Inuit for Inuit.
Sounds and visions of the North fill the Winnipeg Art Gallery's newest space, called Kamiak, or the Inuit Art Center. Nearly 2 years after shovels first hit the ground, the center is ready to open its doors.
I think it's a huge turning point for Inuit and non-Indigenous people. It's going to be you're going to learn a lot of things about Inuit that not a lot of people have had the opportunity to.
The large open space, 40,000 square feet to be exact, was designed to represent the vast lands in the north. It's a goal some Inuit say the WAG achieved. From the outside, a white stone facade mimics icebergs. On the inside, large circular cutouts in the ceiling fill the gallery level with natural light. For Maxine Ingu, it takes her back to her home in Whale Cove, Nunavut.
You can see the circles. That reminds me of seal holes, like when you're out on the land seal hunting. when I first walked into this space, I looked up and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was also in here with another Inuit elder, and she said it reminded her of the top of the igloo. So that was beautiful.
Light is important to Inuit. Some communities experience seasonal 24-hour darkness. So when daylight returns, it's celebrated. This is where the name Haumiek comes from. It translates to, it is bright, it is lit. This is a theme felt throughout the center, but not just in the literal sense, says WAG's director and CEO, Stephen Boris.
I think about the light that focuses on what we're doing, exposes the rights and the wrongs, maybe even helps us take greater responsibility, because now what we're doing is for everyone to see. And I believe that'll help us even in the exercise of reconciliation.
The WAG acquired its first Inuit art piece in the 1950s. Since then, they have amassed a collection of around 14,000 pieces, the largest public collection in the world. Boris believes getting that first piece set in motion the events that lead up to this week's opening. When it came time to develop the center, the WAG wanted to do it right. They developed an Indigenous Advisory Committee to help ensure the center would be Inuit-led.
The WAG is over 100 years old, but it is largely still a white institution, and its whole organization is based on a colonial framework. What the Indigenous Circle has helped us do, and before that the Inuit Task Force, is rethink what is our role, who is leading, who has the authority, whose voice is out there. All of those things have pushed us to rethink how we work as an organization.
The center is home to a 3-story vault displaying about 5,000 sculptures and carvings, a theater area which will be used for performances, as well as connecting classrooms in the north to the south, and new gallery spaces. Inua is the center's inaugural exhibit. It showcases work from close to 90 artists.
I think this will be a very refreshing look at what Inuit art is and what Inuit art can be.
The exhibit includes more well-known styles of Inuit art, such as drawings and carvings, but also more contemporary pieces, such as a sealskin spacesuit or the sea can installation.
What we're trying to show is that Inuit art is anything made by an Inuit artist.
Heather Agluliukti is one of the 4 co-creators of Inua. The team represents the 4 regions of Inuit Nunagat. Included in the exhibit are 4 pieces from each of the curators' families.
We did that installation because we wanted to situate ourselves within our own histories as family members, but also broader kinship relationships that we have with Inuit from not just Canada, but from Greenland straight through to Alaska.
As the WAG prepares for the center's opening, some are left questioning, why have an Inuit Art Center in the south? But for many involved, they say this isn't the end. The future is bright for spaces like this. Brittany Hudson, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Looks impressive, and you can watch a virtual tour of the Inuit Art Center tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time on our APTN News Facebook page. During the early days of the pandemic, when people were hoarding toilet paper, we introduced you to a little girl who was way ahead of the times. An update on her after the break. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Our viewer Raylene got this photo of a crow, and if you look real close, Raylene captured a moment where you can see the crow's nictitating membrane, also known as their third eyelid. There was a lot of N. trivia going on in the newsroom today. Great shot, Raylene. And you can keep those pictures coming by sending your photos to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Time now to take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the east coast, +5 with showers for St. John's, 11, and rain in Halifax. -18 in Kuujjuaq, 21 below for Inukjuak. Showers then 20 in Montreal, 10 with rain for Val-d'Or. +1 in Sault Ste. Marie, 9 above in North Bay. +1 for Thunder Bay, 3 above for Sioux Lookout. -18 in Churchill, 5 below in God's Lake. +5 with showers for Winnipeg, +2 in a rain-snow mix for Barons River. +6 for Regina, 2 above in Saskatoon. -7 in Uranium City, -2 in Meadow Lake. Over in northern Alberta, -5 for Fort Chip with snow, +2 and snow in Peace River. +6 with a chance of snow in Edmonton, 8 and snow for Lethbridge. 11 in Vancouver, 12 in Victoria. +8 with showers in Prince George, snow and 2 above in Dease Lake. -3 with snow for Old Crow, +1 and snow in Whitehorse. -9 for Yellowknife, 2 below in Wrigley and Fort Simpson. -19 in Sax Harbor, 15 below with snow for Paulatuck. -16 for Chesterfield and Baker Lake with snow. -22 in Resolute, 23 below in Clyde River. Here's an update I was looking forward to. It was this time last year the world was going crazy hoarding toilet paper at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Back then we told you about a little girl from Fisher River Cree Nation, 2 hours north of Winnipeg, who'd been stockpiling paper products way before it was a global trend. Melissa Ridgen has that update.
It's been a year, but who doesn't remember this? While many of us were scratching our heads at the toilet paper hoarding phenomenon, Shantae Green understood the demand. She'd been stockpiling for years.
How long have you liked toilet paper? A long time?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you like them?
Because this toilet paper is amazing.
Because toilet paper is amazing?
One year, Santa brought her the toilet paper she asked for. It was even the subject of her grade 3 science project. While the world seems to have regained some sanity about paper products, is Shantae still smitten? Her mom says yes, but these days she's more about facial tissue than toilet paper. She recently celebrated her 11th birthday with this Kleenex cake. No word yet if her 12th birthday will involve napkins or a paper towel theme. Melissa Ridgen, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Happy belated birthday, Shantae. It's now time to get a look ahead to tonight's episode of Nation to Nation. Here's Todd Lamarand with what's on the schedule.
Looming later this year will be a vacant seat on the Supreme Court of Canada. There will once again be speculation that an Indigenous person should fill it. I speak to former Justice Harry Laforme about it, once thought to be a candidate himself. And he'll tell us why he was never going to be a Supreme Court Justice, and why we shouldn't be holding our breath for one this time around. As well, Liberal Member of Parliament Laura Zan's Private Members Bill passed second reading. It wants to do something about racialized communities like First Nations affected by industrial pollution. I speak to an environmental activist from the Aamjiwnaang First Nation near Sarnia, Ontario. If legislation like this could have helped her community that sits in the heart of Chemical Valley. That's coming up in a matter of minutes. I'll see you then.
Thought Todd and I had the same tie on. Well, that is all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Thursday. For news anytime, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for joining us. Stick around. Todd's up next with Nation to Nation. Have a great night.